this meeting to order. Mr. Foxen, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Ames.
Here.
Corcoran.
Here.
Florina. Here. Gray.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Chapman. Here. Trutchell. Here.
Will you please join me in the pledge of allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda this evening is approval of the minutes. Is there any discussion about the minutes? Is there a motion to approve as presented? Thank you, Mr. Florino, seconded by Ms. Gray. Roll call on the motion to approve.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Chapman. Yes. Trutchell.
Yes.
The minutes will stand as presented. Reports from committees. Ms. Gray.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to request executive session at this point to discuss contracts.
Is there a second? By Mrs. Ames. Roll call on the motion, move to executive session.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Before we move, I'd like to invite those members of the audience who are council members who have been elected to next year to join us in executive session.
Madam President, I would like to request that we come out of executive session.
Motion is seconded by Mr. Trutchell. Roll call on the motion to return from executive session.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
We are back in regular session. Reports of committees. Ms. Gray.
Thank you, President Leonardo. The Human Resources Committee has one item on tonight's agenda, item number 6, which is a first reading on ordinance to establish the pay and benefit structure for city, police, and fire chiefs, police captains, and assistant fire chiefs. We've had pretty good discussion on what was needed for this particular piece of legislation, and at the appropriate time I will request to waive the 3-read rule. This was legislation that was established in January of this year, and it is long overdue, so I will request that we, again, as I said, waive the 3-read rule, get it passed tonight. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Gray. Other reports from committees. Mrs. Ames.
Thank you, President Leonardo. Development has one item on the agenda tonight. Item number 3 is the first reading of a resolution authorizing the mayor to authorize OVRDC to file an application for 2015 CDBG Community Development Target of Opportunity Grant. Ohio Valley Regional Development Corporation has been working on grants for us for the city, and we had applied for CDBG earlier in the year, which was denied. On Thursday of this week, I got this assignment, and using the discretion of as head of the committee, went ahead and submitted this to the law director so that it could be put on the agenda tonight because the application is due tomorrow. It is a request. It is for monies to be used for the Nipshin block, which is the block that used to be the paint at the corner of 2nd and Paint Street. It has matching funds, which the owners are going to procure, and it will not cost the city anything, so at the appropriate time I would ask to waive the 3-read rule and pass this tonight. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Ames. Who's next? Ms. Corcoran.
Thank you, Madam President. The number 2, the first reading for the transfer of $14,506.82 from Parks and Rec Capital Lands and Buildings to Park and Rec Capital Equipment to purchase snow removal, salt application, and equipment. We spoke about this at the committee meeting on December 1st, and the additional. There was 9,700 we talked about at that meeting, but the additional 4,794 is for the equipment that will be attached to that new Kubota tractor that we purchased. So all of this is for snow removal. And just a side note, the Park and Rec had $20,000 that was a line item for camera equipment that they never purchased this last year. So some of that will come from here, and then the rest will be, brought forward, so that those funds were never used. And at the appropriate time, so we can be ready for when the snow comes. I hope it doesn't, but I will ask to waive the 3-read rule. And that's it.
Your report?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Corcoran. Mr. Prohl.
The Safety Service Committee has one item on tonight's agenda. It is item number 4, which is a first reading, and it is an ordinance to appropriate $13,500 for the cost of vehicle repairs for the Chillicothe Police Department. And this is just wrapping up our end of the year business, and of course, hopefully our new vehicles we get next year will cut down this cost even more. But at the appropriate time, I will be asking that we waive the 3-read rule so that we can pay for these bills. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prohl. Other reports? Mrs. Ames.
I just noticed something on the agenda. This has OVRDC and it's Ohio Regional Development Corporation. I don't know if that needs to be changed on the agenda, number 3. Authorize mayor to authorize OVRDC, and it should be just ORDC. Ohio
The
Regional.
agenda is not binding, it's my heads up as to what's coming
Okay.
before.
All right,
Sorry.
thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Patrick.
Thank you. Just wanted to make a quick announcement. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, across the street will be a utilities committee meeting, and that is dealing with granting a right-of-way easement to Ohio Power Company for some work down in Mary Lou Patton Park.
Thank you for that announcement. Is that finished reports from committees? Mr. Trutchell.
Thank you, President Leonardo. The Finance Committee has 4 items on tonight's agenda. Item 1 is the second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 163 of the City of Chillicothe Income Tax of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Chillicothe. This is known as the Home Rule Amendment, where all municipalities shall have the authority to exercise all powers of local self-government. Deadline for this amendment is enacted is January 1st. For further explanation, I'll let Auditor Feeney report on that. Item 7 is a first reading of ordinance to temporarily suspend the maximum hours established for one part-time security officer. As a result of the resignation of one part-time security officer within the municipal court, additional hours for the other part-time security officer will be scheduled, so that daily business and operations of the municipal court can continue at the appropriate time. I will motion to waive the 3-read rule. Item 8 is first reading of an ordinance to appropriate. First of all, we have an amendment to item 8 and item 9. Would it be appropriate to make that amendment motion now?
I think that's fine.
I will do so then. We'll do item 8 first.
Motion has been made
Separate.
to amend item 8. Is there a second? Mrs. Patrick has seconded. Roll call on that motion.
Ames.
Yes?
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal. Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the dollar amount is different than what I have here. It's amendment. However, item 8 is the first reading of an ordinance appropriating $693,279.83 for the end of year 2015 operations. This covers an assortment of departments and line items. This type of legislation is nothing new, and the way that it is read, this $274,227.75 comes from unappropriated general fund. The rest of that money comes from line items within the department. In order for Auditor Feeney to get our finances in order in a timely manner at the appropriate time, I will motion to waive the 3-read rule. The dollar amount is now $706,279.83.
Could you do that again, please?
It's $706,279.83.
Thank you.
I'd also make a motion on item 9 to amend that legislation.
Seconded by Mrs. Ames. Roll call on the motion.
Ames,
Yes?
Corcoran,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Tatman,
Yes.
Trutville.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Item 9 is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the 2016 budget. My understanding that the budget must be passed before January 1st, 2016, on December 28th, 2015. And once again, I must defer to Auditor Feeney for his expertise for this explanation. Under normal circumstances, the passing of the budget is the first order of business for the new council, but these are not normal circumstances. An extra payroll is scheduled for December 31st, and that money comes out of the 2016 budget. This overlap occurs every decade. Respectfully submitted. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Trutchell. Mrs. Neal, did you have a report?
I did. City Services has one item on the agenda. It's item number 5. It's to accept $5,189.65 insurance fund for building repairs and replacement of equipment and money that was stolen from the service department on July 16th, and to appropriate $6,189.65 to completely repair and replace as necessary. This happened earlier this summer, and several pieces of equipment, quite a bit of damage, so this is just to replace the items that were stolen and make everything whole. And I probably should ask to waive the 3-read rule. So, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Mr. Trutchell, will you be asking to waive 3-read on item number 9 as well?
No, that'll be done on the 28th.
All right. Does that finish committee reports? Seeing no additional, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, President Leonardo. I'd like to bring people up to speed with some developments in our police department. Had a bad week there. We have one of our officers, Andy Newman, has been diagnosed with a pretty serious illness here. So we ask for your prayers and his speedy recovery to that, and he'll be gone for an extended period of time. Also, Officer Brandon Mather received notification that he'll be deployed to the Middle East. He's on Army Reserve. So that usually is 3 months of training at Fort Hood and then deployment to the Middle East of about 9 months. So they'll be out of pocket for practically all of 2016. And finally, last night in a foot pursuit, Officer Matt Shipley broke his leg. So he'll be out of pocket for about 8 weeks. So we ask for your prayers and quick healing of our officers that risk their lives every day in more ways than one. Secondly, I'd like, I don't know, I didn't come into the room when item 3 was being read, but I'm assuming that due to the nature of that is waiving the 3-read rule tonight. Okay. When we looked at downtown revitalization grants through ORDC, we have, and that's a misprint there, that's not
We
ORDC.
discussed that.
Okay. We have till the 17th, I believe, to get that submitted. The application for submittal is the only really project in the downtown with the Targets of Opportunity grant that can provide up to $200,000 of grant money with a owner match of another $200,000. That will be targeted toward the Nipson building in downtown, which has already undergone some renovations on the front of it. It's on the northeast corner of 2nd and Paint. We certainly want to keep the momentum of the downtown going, so I ask council for your affirmative approval of this tonight. Also, item 5, to accept the insurance check. We do have some vendors waiting on that money, and I might add that the perpetrators in that theft were quickly apprehended within a 2-week period on that and are serving their time now. Then finally, item number 6, again, I was out when that was read. Are you waiving the 3-read rule on that? I would ask council for an affirmative vote on that as well as our chief of fire department, Jeff Creed, so well explained to us in the last meeting. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Officer Feeney.
Thank you, President Leonardo. First comment on the second reading of item number 1. That's the income tax ordinance. We are obliged to amend based on the changes at the state level. I would request that we go ahead and waive the 3-read rule tonight, just so we can get, essentially what has to happen is the people who update our ordinances and everything, this gives them a little bit of lead time, 2 weeks, to get it updated for next year. But in essence, this brings us into line with what the state legislature passed towards income tax uniformity. We've talked about it quite a bit over the past couple of years, and the time has come. It will also update with the new income tax levy amounts. So I would ask for your positive vote on the waiver on item number 1. Item number 5, I would also support waiver of the 3-read rule. So we did get insurance funds. We'll accept and appropriate the insurance funds and then appropriate the difference necessary above and beyond what we were refunded to buy replacement items and refund. There's some cash stolen, refund that cash. So I'd ask for your support on that. Item number 8 is the sort of the remaining appropriations to get through year end. We've been talking about this for a while. Instead of piecemealing them, we put them into one big messy ordinance, which has gone back and forth from the auditor's office and the law director's office, and we appreciate their help over there. It is a big number. It should get us through the end of the year. I expect that of those appropriations, some will come back and end up being a part of our carryover. But I would request your support, or ask for your support tonight, passage. And then item number 9 is next year's budget. As Councilman Trushell pointed out and did not take credit for, but did bring up to me last week that he thinks that our employees would like to get paid on the first day. And I think he's right, so we need to pass this budget this year instead of going for the 3 reads we were hoping for. I think that starting the new year with a paycheck is probably a good thing, so I appreciate him bringing that to my attention. So tonight's version of the budget is updated from the last reading. The copies you have strike-throughs of those changes. And it will have an amendment, at least one amendment or addition next week, or 2 weeks from tonight when we read it again. It'll have the traditional capital list attached to it. But we don't need passage of that tonight. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, President Leonardo. I don't have anything to report on this evening. Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to audience participation. Is there anyone who would like to address council this evening? Please step forward and give your name for the clerk and address.
My name is Alan Davis. I still live at 370 Braywood, as I have every other time that I addressed you. I handed out some notes and comments that I had on the budget. The first thing I would say is, as someone who dealt with budgets for complex organizations all my career, it's not an easy process. And knowing exactly where you stand, as Luke said, very difficult until the year's over. And even then, it's hard to know because there can be last-minute adjustments and stuff like that. I would urge council, as they reflect on this year's process, to, early on to determine, are there things that could help and improve for next year? I did include 4 attachments. One of them was the principles of sound budgeting that they posted in the newspaper, and that'll give you the rationale why I think those are so important. I think if we're to look back this year, those won't necessarily follow real well. The second attachment, the first one's with numbers, is just a reminder, fiscal caution wasn't just about, or isn't just about whether or not we did our bank recs. That's what we got quoted for and cited for. But one of the criteria for potential for being put on fiscal caution is low year-end carry forward balance. And I did the best job that I could to research the information for the last 10 years from our audited financials to say, how have we done on that? And that's the top half of the numbers. And then through the internal documents, the last few years, and also based on the projections, which again, Auditor Feeney, right, that it's hard to do to know with certainty on where we would stay, where we would fall out on those, and it's not good. So potentially there's issues there. I updated the financial health indicator deal with, again, the best I could do with the information that we have on the budget on will those improve or not improve, or potentially are there others that are in jeopardy. The latest I've heard is financial health indicators will, the report generator that the state auditor's office is putting together, they hope to have done next fall, so that 2016 unaudited financials would be a part of that, and judged on that. So how this next year turns out, it could be determined on that. The last thing is context is always an appropriate thing on a budget. So what I did was I went back through the 2012, 13, 14, and 15 budgets and just showed how those changed by some of the large categories, and then summary in the bottom. Obviously, I don't have all the categories for the current budget, but and for this year, but down in the bottom, it's summarized. So police and fire are extremely important for the city, but also other functions are important too. And when we look at the trending, we've seen that we're having some rebounding on the funding for police and fire, which is excellent and good for the city, but we've got we're way behind where we used to be for the entire rest of the departments. And at some point in time, that needs to be addressed. So I hope you take some of those into consideration. At this late date, it's pretty obvious that the budget needs to be passed, but there's a lot of work that could be done in the future here to make sure that we improve our situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Anyone else like to address council this evening? Seeing none, we'll close that portion and we'll move to old business. Mr. Trutchell.
First of all, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And I can't take all the credit for spotting this budget situation we have by getting it voted in. I initially thought that it was strange that we were going to try to pass this year, realizing the fact that our first council normally does the first order of business is voting it in. So I sent an email to Mr. Fawcett, who has all the answers. John's the one that actually spotted the difference in the fact that we had to pay our help, and so I went to see Luke, and that's how this all came together. So I really can't take all that credit. And I thank you very much, John Fawcett.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Churchill. Other old business? All right, seeing none. Petitions and correspondence received by the clerk.
I have nothing to report in the way of petitions or correspondence, but I did want to recognize a student, Mackenzie Jones, who is here tonight. She's a senior at Logan Elm High School and is here as part of their government studies. So welcome.
New business? No new business. All right. Are there any additional committee meetings that we need to announce at this time? Seeing none, let's move to legislation. Mr. Fawson, when you're ready. Item number 1.
Second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 163, City of Chillicothe Income Tax of the codified ordinances of the City of Chillicothe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Mr. Trutchell.
I'd like the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
That motion is seconded by Mrs. Ames. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3 read.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Motion carries. Roll call on the ordinance.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
And the ordinance has passed. Item number 2.
First reading of an ordinance transferring the sum of $14,556.82 from Parks and Recreation Capital Lands and Buildings to Parks and Recreation Capital Equipment, and for the purchase of snow removal and salt application equipment, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Ms. Corcoran.
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Seconded by Mrs. Patrick. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3 read rule.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
That motion carries. Roll call on the ordinance.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
The ordinance has passed. Item number 3.
First reading of a resolution authorizing the mayor to authorize the Ohio Regional Development Corporation to file an application on behalf of the city for a 2015 CDBG Community Development Target of Opportunity Grant and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mrs. Ames.
I move to waive the 3-read rule, please.
Seconded by Mrs. Gray. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3 read rule.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
That motion carries. Roll call on the resolution.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Resolution has passed. Item number 4.
First reading of an ordinance appropriating $13,500 for the cost of vehicle repairs for the Chillicothe Police Department and declaring an emergency. First reading.
At this time, I would like to ask that we please waive the 3 read rule.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Florina. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3 read rule.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
That motion carries. Roll call on the ordinance.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
And the ordinance has passed. Item number 5.
First reading of an ordinance accepting $5,189.65 in insurance funds received for building repairs and replacement of equipment and money stolen from the service building on July 10, 2015, and appropriating $6,189.65 to completely repair and replace as necessary, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mrs. Neal.
I'd like to ask to waive the 3 read rule.
Second. Second by Mr. Kroll. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3 read rule.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
That motion carries. Roll call on the ordinance.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
And the ordinance has passed. Item number 6.
First reading of an ordinance establishing the pay and benefit structure for city police and fire chiefs, police captains, and assistant fire chiefs, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Ms. Gray.
Thank you, President Lonardo. I would like to request a
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Motion carries. Roll call on the ordinance.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Ordinance has passed. Item number 7.
First reading of an ordinance to temporarily suspend the maximum hours established for one part-time security officer for the Chillicothe Municipal Court as established by section 151.02 of the codified ordinances of Chillicothe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Churchill.
Motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Seconded by Mrs. Ames. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Roll call on the ordinance.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Ordinance has passed. Item number 8.
First reading of an ordinance appropriating $706,279.83 for the end of year 2015 operations and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Churchill.
Motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Seconded by Mrs. Ames. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3 reading.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Roll call on the ordinance.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Ordinance has passed. Item number 9.
First reading of an ordinance to make appropriation for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Chillicothe, state of Ohio, during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2016, and ending December 31, 2016, and declaring emergency. First reading.
That completes legislation this evening. Ms. Gray.
Thank you, President Leonardo. I would like to request that we adjourn.
Is that a second from Mr. Florina?
It is.
Roll call on the motion to adjourn.
Ames.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Trutchell.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Everyone-